Good morning, everybody. It's great to see so many new faces at every one of these. We see and welcome new folks, and it's I think more this time that are new than any other time I think that we've had these.
I agree.
So welcome to all of you. I hope you didn't have too much difficulty coming in. I know I got in late with Bill, who's the only one behind me, I think at 1 a.m. And that's probably the worst flight. I mean, that's not the worst flight I've ever had in my life. So not too many of you had that experience. But I'm Brian Lovell, and I'm one of the co-PIs of the Bas Center. My primary focus is building automation systems, and I've worked with Peter and the fine folks here going back now to 2011. We started working on this, and then got the grant in 2012. So it's really rewarding to see so many programs developing around the country from the work that started so many years ago. One of the things that has developed out of this work over the last several years is an effort towards certification. And you've heard about, and will hear about, the HBDOP, High Performance Building Operations Professionals certification the Bas Center is working on. There's also a certification that's focused on building automation systems by an organization called the Association of Controls Professionals. This is an outgrowth of the Bas Center's efforts. It is a 501c3 association, so it's tax deductible. If any of you would like to donate any money, we'll take it. It's a lot of the same people that are involved with the Bas Center. Peter's on the board of directors. I'm the president of the organization and an ex officio member of the board of directors, and we have some industry leaders on the board as well, including Roger Evich. I think a lot of you know Roger Evich. He's our chairman of the board. And the interest in this organization is to forward a certification of building automation systems, particularly for students that are coming out of your programs at that level. So entry-level BAS certification. We've announced this, I think, going back 3 or 4 workshops now. The effort is well underway, and we're using the same folks that PBOP is using, the Ohio State University folks and John Mosier, who I first came to my awareness. I got to give credit to Robert Nirenberg, because when you did your DACOM at Omaha and I participated, that's when I first got introduced to John. And he's a fine guy, and I know that Valencia College just had a DACOM that was run by John and the team at Ohio State. We did for the BAS certification, and so did PBOP with the Bas Center. The mission of this association is to provide educational and industry resources for long-overlooked technicians, specifiers, engineers, integrators, designers, programmers, and managers in the building automation systems industry, creating progressively greater industry exposure and professionalism. The prime effort at the outset is to get certifications out and available that you can align your programs to. So students coming out hopefully would sit for this certification and then carry the first, hopefully, ISO 17024 certified, accredited certification for our industry. And it is very important to understand the difference between a certification and a certificate. There are a lot of certificates out there. You can write yourself a certificate for training and certify somebody as having sat through some training and passed the test or whatever. Certification is a very different animal, and a good certification should be accredited by ISO, ANSI, or IREC, or some third-party organization, so that they've looked at it, they've looked at your methods, and you follow some set procedures to doing your research, validating the research, creating the test, and then releasing it with input from members of whatever field that you're trying to certify, input from around the country, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. This effort started when we got sufficient funding in late 2016, which took some time to see it through, because as Peter mentioned, it's a very expensive and detailed process. So the funding's in place, and so we're progressing through this timeline. I know it's difficult to see, but it starts with really planning for a DACOM and executing a DACOM. A DACOM, how many of you know what a DACOM is, first of all? Because when I got in this, I did not know what a DACOM was when I got involved in higher education, being an industry guy. A DACOM is designing a curriculum, and you bring together a number of subject matter experts and you sit them down for 2 to 3 days, and you go through all the skills and tasks and job duties necessary to be successful in that industry that you're trying to investigate. That's the first step also for a certification. A lot of times, it only goes far enough to design your own curriculum at your own institutions. But in the case of a certification, it's the first step towards a much broader scope of processes you have to go through to release a certification. So we've done the DACM. We did that in late September of 2016, and several of the people in this room were part of that DACM panel and SMEs, including Robert. I know Bob Clark was there, Robert Curran. Yes, I'm sorry. How can I miss Robert? So yeah, several of you were there, including others from the industry that are recognized experts. And where we are now is going into what's called an asynchronous task analysis, which is going to be conducted across several cities geographically representing the United States. So we'll take a subset of subject matter experts and do a deeper dive into those duties and tasks, particularly tasks that were identified by the SMEs in our data. An exam committee needs to be developed. We're working on developing that now. ISO also dictates development of a scheme, and ISO, International Standards Organization, is everything that it takes for somebody to be able to sit for a certification. How much schooling do you have to be able to sit for a certification? How much hands-on do you have to have? What are the conditions under which you would deny somebody to sit for a certification, et cetera, et cetera? A lot of the standard in the ISO standard deals with having those procedures written out and applied uniformly to everybody who wants to sit for that certification. So if you want to get accredited by a third party, this is part of what you have to do. You have to develop what's called a scheme, and that's underway as well. A couple pictures from the initial DACM we had in Atlanta. That's John Mosier. He directs the Ohio State University DACM team, and he's outstanding. If you have any interest in doing that yourself, I would highly recommend John. Very affordable as well. Part and parcel to what we're doing with certification, you have to have a willing and interested set of people that want to use it, right? You have to have people who want to sit for the certification. You also have to have people and organizations that are promoting this certification nationally. So we've done a lot of work in developing collegiate relationships with memorandums of understanding, with discussions of setting the certification as an outcome, a final outcome capstone test for students. We've had that discussion with several colleges, particularly in Florida. Working with industry associations, like we're working closely now with the president of BACnet International, Andy McMullen. Educational associations like the American Association of Community Colleges, etc. Corporate support from large conglomerates and organizations which were previously mentioned, like Siemens, ALC, Kelly. They're all aware and supportive of this certification. And then federal agencies, we've done some work with the Department of Energy, and I continue that work, of course, with the NSF and the Bas Center, et cetera, et cetera. So we think we've got a broad representation of interests surrounding the industry, educationally, corporate-wise, federal funding, et cetera, et cetera. The next steps for the certification in particular, very soon we'll be releasing a national validation survey that we'll send out to, as many people who have had experience in the industry as possible to provide us with feedback. And we want at least 200 responses to this national validation survey, so we get a good set of data that we can legitimately say that the work products that have been developed are solid. Okay? So that's coming very soon, and a lot of you will get that request to fill out a survey, particularly those of you that had significant industry experience. We would ask that you do that. This is not a short survey. Typically, these things can be 30 minutes long, so it's very difficult to get response rates. That I know this is a challenge for HPVOP. It's going to be a challenge for us. So if you get it, we really request that you take a hard look at it and fill it out, because we'll need that data. We're planning asynchronous job task analyses. in several cities. I've already had talks with Bob Clark, who'll probably be the first one in Chicago, because we have a lot of experts right there, and it's an easy place to fly into. I've talked to Robert about maybe planning one in Omaha, since we had a successful DACM and a number of SMEs who are outstanding there. And then perhaps look at Oakland, and we've even talked about doing one in the Northwest, perhaps. We'll see. What we'll do, we'll assign these groups maybe one list of a duty and a number of tasks. And each task, my understanding, takes about an hour to two to drill down into, and really, and I see Carol, you must have had experience with this before. It takes a lot of time and a lot of money, as Peter said, to get this done. But we're going to be getting this done before the end of the winter. The ISO standard scheme development, which is underway now, we've already talked about that, and then after that's done, after the in-depth task analysis and the scheme development, then comes the examination item writing, which involves the examination committee and beta testing for general release, etc. When we have a firm idea of when the general release will be, we're coordinating with our industry partners and from corporate to educational, et cetera. We can talk to the Department of Energy, some people in DC. Very excited about this. We've got a lot of interest in this. And we're trying to coordinate a national introduction for both ACP and the certification effort, which hopefully will drive interest and drive uptake for use and for your programs and for people that want to sit for the certification exam. So I know it's a lot in 15 minutes, but are there any questions about the initiative and what ACP is trying to do, or the relationship to the Bas Center that I could clarify before turning it over? Yes,
Is that date available for us to look at?
It's not released yet. So as we massage it a little bit more and as we get national validation on the survey, we'll be releasing it. And likely, that might also, I'd be happy to release it to you guys, but it might be rolled in also to a national announcement, because we don't want to kind of undercut that. But it's the same cast of characters we talked about before. A lot of them, we have national account pricing for you. There's a lot of support, corporate support for this. And certainly we'd love your support in promoting this as well as it comes out.
It's the same answer Roger gave me.
Oh, yes, Roger, too. Any other questions? Thank you.